listening in? Okay, somebody gonna need to let me know they're there. Right, we got this going on? All right. Looks like we're good to go. Welcome to Conversations with Angie Harvey, and I am your hostess with the mostest, Angie Harvey. I want to welcome all my new growers. I know I got some new growers out there, people that don't know who Angie Harvey is, don't know what growing up is, and think they grown. Right. Some of y'all looking, some of y'all listening. Welcome. What took you so long? We've been waiting here forever. Who is we? Me and all my ride or die people. I mean, people that show up time after time again to listen to this and to do this. Grow up, listen to this and do this. Welcome, my people. I know we're going to have a hot show tonight. And when I say hot, I mean hot like in like fire. Yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. If my daughter saw me do that, she'd be like, Ma, don't do that. That's okay. We're going to do it anyway. Listen, one of the things I need you guys to constantly do tonight is to share the show. You know why? Because that includes more people into the conversation. But bigger than that, your future, somebody you might touch base with, right? Who knows? Needs to hear this conversation just in case they may need to love you. We just definitely want to share the growth, right? Don't be stingy, people. Share people, share the growth, right? Right. Well, everybody might not be able to see me via Facebook. You might have them call in at 646-478-4395. You got that? Slow down, Angie. You're too hype. Okay. Slow down. 646-478-4395. Or they can log on to blogtalkradio.com/E3radio. Everybody got that? All right. And then you all can do your job. You know what your job is? To press share so that you can share with your people. Right? We're going to get right into the show. But before I do that, y'all got something to say about my sign? Right. My auntie was like, Angie, you need to get a sign that we can see that it says Conversation with Angie Harvey. So there you go. I give the people what they want. Conversations with Angie Harvey. The other thing you guys might have seen, maybe not, you should have, that Let's Talk University, where grown folks come to grow up on purpose. That's right. This is just a soft launching of sorts, but I absolutely could not do this show and not include you all on one of the biggest events that have happened to me in 2017. That's because my birthday is in March, so that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. But Let's Talk University has officially opened. I had a couples retreat last week that was amazing. 10 amazing spirits in the house. It was dynamic, to say the least. And so things have been kicked off. There's going to be more programming coming your way, and I just want you to look out for it. Hey, I know what you're saying. Angie, what happened? I didn't hear about the retreat. Where y'all been? Listen, I got 2 retreats coming up, still on the books. It's too late to get into the one that's in a couple of weeks, but I'm doing a Tri-C couples retreat. C stands for what? Communication, connection, connectedness, right? That retreat is June the 2nd through the 4th. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina, here at Let's Talk University. And then the Let Go and Grow retreat is going to be April 28th through the 30th. You got that? Everybody write that down? Tri-C couples retreat, June 2nd through the 4th, right? Let go and grow, and we all need that. People with abandonment issues, trust issues, any baggage, anything you want to let go that's preventing you from growing, you absolutely need to show up for that. And couples can come, singles can come, individuals can come. Everybody can come. And that retreat is April the 28th through the 30th. And yes, there is still space available. So tonight we're talking about one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. This book. Everybody can see that? The 5 Love Languages. I wish I wrote this book. I wish I had these concepts, but it doesn't make a difference. I'm just so glad that we have it. Gary Chapman wrote the book. You can get it on Amazon. You can write me. I can send it to you. But it's an amazing book. I decided for tonight, instead of me, because I got a ton of questions in my inbox, so instead of me just kind of flowing with things, I'm going to actually respond to some of the questions that I got from you all. Is that okay? I promise you, I'm going to touch on everything that I'm supposed to touch on, even though I'm just going to ask questions, okay? Now, here's the deal. If you have a question, or comment, you know you have to call in, right? What number you calling? 646-478-4395. You press 1 and let me know you have a question. Now, you might have a question that might be, that you're typing in on Facebook. Yeah, probably not going to be able to do that because I can't do all of this at the same time. So, but if you go ahead and call me, I can absolutely get to the question. But I do go through all the news feed when we're done. If you have a question, go ahead and type it on there, and I will absolutely respond to it after the show. Is that okay? All right. So the first question was, listen, Angie, I've heard about this love language thing. What the heck is a love language? What is that all about? Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that get the book, The 5 Love Languages. The basis of the book is just that we all take in and give love in a specific way. There's words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, receiving gifts, and quality time. I've decided that this is so very important that each love language is getting its own show. And tonight we're doing receiving gifts. It happens to be the way that I speak love to other people. Then they talk about a love tank. And this is so very important for people to know that, have you ever been in a relationship with somebody and they said, you don't love me? And you thought to myself, I thought to myself, you thought to yourself, what the heck are you talking about? I do this, and this, and this. This, and this. What do you mean I don't love you? Well, for many people, if the way they take in love is not done effectively, consistently, routinely, their love tank, and Gary Chapman speaks a lot about the love tank, their love tank could be empty. So even though you're showing love in the way that you do, if you're buying things, but they're physical touch, if you're physical touch, but they're quality time, those things make a difference. And not all type of love can fill up a love tank. It has to be their type of love to fill up their love tank. I want you guys to keep that in mind because that's pivotal. That's pivotal. And this is probably one of the primary reasons why people don't last long in their relationships, besides communication. We'll talk about that later. But people not loving the other person the way they want to be loved. And definitely, I believe that receiving gifts, people get a bad rap. So what I'm asking you or suggesting to you is that from this day forward, anybody that hasn't heard about the 5 love languages, after tonight, you should at least be bilingual. That means able to speak 2 languages. The one that you speak, English, or it could be Espanol, and the one that we're going to talk about tonight. You will at least know enough about receiving gifts to know what it is. So after tonight, you will at least be bilingual, but you also could be multilingual. Hey, if in fact you identify how you give love, and then taking this information, you could speak more than 1 love language. How about that? Right, go ahead and post that. I'm bilingual, Angie said. That's what Angie said. So this receiving gifts, and I decided to do this one first because definitely the people that are receiving gifts get a bad rap. I said earlier that I am a person, the way I show love is to give gifts. And so I absolutely know that there are people, those people that receive those gifts can be appreciative all they want. But if it's not their love language, it's not what fills up their tank. And I have been guilty of some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. So my second question was, what's a receiving gifts love language? And I want everybody to be clear about what it is not. I want to say that first and foremost. It is not someone who is materialistic. It is not someone who is high maintenance. It is not someone who is a gold digger. Now, I'm not saying that a person couldn't be those things too, but just to have a love language of receiving gifts does not make you those things. People that are receiving gifts, are people who, people that take in love, inhale love, see love, feel love, taste love by the things that you give to them. Now, do they all have to be expensive? No, nobody has to go out and buy fancy purses or cars or things of that nature, unless you want to. They could be something very little. But the premise of the receiving gifts is that these symbols, these gifts, are equivalent to love for them. They have an emotional value. That's pivotal to remember, people. An emotional value. What you're attempting to do in a relationship is to connect with someone. How do you connect with someone? You connect with someone on an emotional level. How do you connect with a receiving gifts person? It has to be in the way that they hear and feel and see and taste love, and that is to give a gift. And it's not just about the gift. It is about the symbol that it represents. It represents love. It's it's a little symbol sometimes with big value. I want you to keep this in mind. TIC, T-I-C. The receiving of the gift needs to be thoughtful, it needs to be intentional, and it needs to be considerate. Hey, I know some people are saying we say this all the time, people. It's the thought that counts. It's the thought that counts. And I'm here to tell you, people, with receiving gifts, people, it's not the thought that counts. You need to be thinking about me, who I am, what I've said I wanted, what I like, what I'm into, things that will make me happy, not what you'd like to see me in, or what you thought I would like, or you want to bring me something just because. It has to be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. Say that with me, everybody. Thoughtful, T. Intentional, I. Considerate, C. Those things are pivotal. These gifts can be purchased, they can be made, they can be found, they can be created. There's a number of different ways to be able to give a gift. There's a number of different gifts that you can give. But what you have to keep in mind, this is remember this. Thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. Yeah, you can't say that Angie didn't tell you, because after today, anybody with a receiving gifts person is going to say, I know you listened to that show, and I know Angie told you that it had to be thoughtful. So, listen, it's on the record now, so now you know. Be clear. So this is not just about going to buy a gift. This is not just picking up something. The purpose of the gift, it has emotional value, and you absolutely should be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate when you get the gift. You got it? Okay, good. Next question is, I broke up with my last partner because she seemed to be very materialistic and always looking for me to buy her something. But now that I think about it, maybe she was just had a receiving gifts love language. And I would say to you that could be true, but don't get it twisted. I don't want you to believe that those things are the same. Somebody demanding a lot of you, paying their bills and buying cars, or having to take care of their kids, or anything like that. Those things are separate. I don't want anybody to confuse a materialistic, gold digger, buy me, I need people with a receiving gifts people. That's what gives receiving gifts people a bad rap. I need everybody to be clear that a receiving gifts person is not a want, it's a need. Does that make sense? They don't want you to buy something for them. They need that because that says love. So you're not handing over just a book, or just a pair of glasses, or just a rock that you found on the beach where you guys first met. You're handing over love. You're handing over consideration. You're handing over, you thought of me. You're handing over, I love you this much. You're handing over many, many, many more things. It's not just a gift. You have to keep that in mind, because otherwise y'all going to get it twisted and you're going to get it wrong, right? So let me give you an example. Let's just say that you're thirsty. Somebody's thirsty. You could want a Sprite, but you really only need hydration, right? So somebody could want a purse, but they really only need to be cared for in that way. So it doesn't have to be something that's big and dynamic, but it has to be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. Got those? Okay. Somebody gonna get it wrong. Somebody gonna ask me. Next question. Most everybody likes to receive gifts. Don't we all have a receiving gifts love language? And I thought that was an amazing question. That was a very good question. And yes, many of us do like receiving gifts. Let's take, for instance, somebody who is a acts of service person, and you bring them something from the store because they were going to go to the store, but the act of the service was, I went ahead and went to the store for you and brought you this. Is that the same as receiving a gift because you brought them something? No. I need everybody to be clear. There's a difference between gift giving to someone who has a different love language and giving a gift to someone who is a receiving gifts person. There's drastic difference. Let's take physical touch. Physical touch, I go to the store and I get something nice and slinky and sexy looking to kind of spice things up and whatnot. Yes, there was a gift purchase, but the whole premise of that was the physical touch. So yes, people with other love languages can like receiving gifts, but a person who's a receiving gifts person needs to have the gift given in order to feel loved. And I know what you're saying, because we come from that school of thought was, why do I have to buy love? Well, no, it's not about that. And the sooner you take yourself out of yourself and leave that thought on the back burner that you're buying love, no, you're keeping the one you love happy. And I'm going to show you later that all of it doesn't take money. You don't have to be rich and famous to be able to please a receiving gifts person. This thing is like in my... Okay, that feels better. I'm not sure if it looks better or not. Quality time. Could someone with a quality time love language can also like receiving gifts. It could be that, you know, you go buy tickets to a movie and you spend that time together. So you did the quality time and the receiving gifts. The gift what's magnified isn't the fact that you went and bought it. What's magnified is that I get to spend time with you. That's quality time, and it's different. Even with words of affirmation, people know that I am a words of affirmation chick, and I love sticky notes and things of that nature. So for you to go buy sticky notes and write something on them, what's pivotal for me is the fact that you wrote something on it, not just buying. I think I told everybody the story about the time I told somebody that I like sticky notes, and they just sent me a big box of sticky notes with nothing written on them. Yeah, that didn't go over well. Yeah, they don't live with me now. Anyway, be clear that all of our love languages can absolutely love receiving gifts, but a receiving gifts person needs the gift to hear the thoughtfulness, the love, the consideration, the I thought of you, the I'm crazy about you, all of those things. Yes, it takes a gift. And the longer you fight yourself on that, especially if you have someone in your life that's like that, the longer you fight yourself, the longer it's going to take you to learn the language. And yes, you can learn the language. You have to want to. Next question. I'm not good at gift giving at all. However, I've discovered that I'm in a relationship with someone whose primary love language is receiving gifts. And I want to tell you this, that of all the love languages, receiving gifts is absolutely the easiest thing to do. Now, I know what some people say. Like, I don't have a whole lot of money. I say easiest because it's almost less emotional and more robotic. You know, it's go to the store. Some of it, like I said, you have to be thoughtful and intentional and considerate. But all the other love languages, physical touch, words of affirmation, those things, you almost having to use your whole body to do it. Gary Chapman believes so, and I believe so too, that receiving gifts is easy. It's difficult when you have some challenges around spending money. We're going to talk about that. But this is actually easy. Easy, people. Watch when I tell you some of the things you can do. You're going to be like, oh, why didn't I think of that? I'm about to upgrade some people's relationships. Y'all better give me some credit for that too. Don't forget, what do I want you to do? Hit share. Let somebody else in on the conversation. People, don't be stingy. Don't try to keep the growth all to yourself. Share it with some people. I'm going to look and see who pressed the share button. I'm watching y'all. Okay? And then you have to learn it and then love it. So don't just learn to speak the language. Just like, oh, let me go in here and buy her something. Don't just buy her something. It has to be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. But you go get something. I want you to be clear that it has to be that you feel it. So just, oh boy, I got to go in here and do this. I can't. If I go home without this, is she going to trip? Blah, 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 blah. We have to be clear that you have to learn it and then you have to love it. You have to be excited to be able, because that's what you're doing. You know how y'all get excited when y'all about to get a little something, something, or when you about to spend some QT with your partner. You need to be as excited when you do these gift things. And I'm gonna tell some people, if in fact you feel like I'm saying this now because I'm feeling it now. If in fact you feel like it's something you do not want to do, and you're not currently in a relationship, absolutely you have to ask some of these questions while you're dating someone. Because if you're going to have such a resistance to it, it does not work. You cannot speak the language if you don't want to. So if you're going, I don't know why I got to do that. So people, move the button. How often do we talk about that? Moving the button. Go ahead, move the button. Move the button. Mentally move. And tell yourself that I'm not doing this just to blow money. I'm not doing this because she's materialistic or he always wants something. I'm doing this to show that I love someone. That be clear about. There's not another way around that. And if you don't believe me, just watch. Right? Next question. Can someone become good at being a gift giver if they don't really want to be? And the answer to that is no. If you don't want to be a gift giver, if you don't want to show love in that way, it's going to be extra difficult for you. But that's with anything in life. If you go through life saying, I don't want to do, I hate that I have to do this, or I have to save and buy this, or I have to do this, or if you grudge doing it, it absolutely comes across. Some of you guys will go and spend good money for something and then throw it at them, literally. Or I bought you something, it's in the car. Or I gave you something, but my bill next month is going to be outrageous. If you have to give me a gift, or not me, but if you have to give someone who's a receiving gifts person a gift, and it has to come with that kind of shade, this is the only thing that I know to say. It has to come with that kind of shade. Trust and believe you might as well have not even given the gift. You might as well have not even bought it, if in fact that's the way you're going to give it to them. You have to learn to love it. You have to love somebody enough to understand that that's how they want to be shown loved. And then you have to love doing it for them. That's a lot of love. And guess what you can't do? That's not even in my notes. In order for you to show that kind of love and take in that kind of love, you have to love yourself enough to be in that place. And there are many people who are not. If you are already in a love relationship with somebody and having some challenges showing love in that way, tough. You got to get over it. You don't go from work to home. You go from work to work. And you have to work as hard at home as you do at work. So when you go to work and they put in a new process or a new procedure that changes the way you do things, you do what? You figure it out. You adapt. Guess what, people? Yes, this is a little bit different. You know, you got maybe burned in the past, but this is somebody who you care about. You have to adapt to that. You have to work at it. You have to work at it. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to give you some great examples of the things you can do. But bigger than that, people that are receiving gifts, people don't mind telling you that. They don't mind sharing with you some of their thoughts and feelings around this. That's when they discover that's what it is. Because there's many people that still don't know what their love language is. Let me see here. If you're dating someone, I would advise you to get the book. Get the book. Get the book, know your love language. And if the person you're seeing, dating, talking to, whatever, does not know theirs, find out theirs. Because in my mind, that's a great first, second date thing to do. Because if in fact you connect with somebody who has a love language that you don't want to do, that you don't do well, and you don't want to learn how to do it, guess what? That's not going to work. I will absolutely tell you that it takes extra work. I am not a quality time person. I could save the world in an hour. I'm doing just that, all of my hours in a day. So it takes a conscious effort, and trust and believe it was not easy. A conscious effort to say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to not put Messenger on my phone. I'm going to leave my office, which is in my home, at 5 o'clock and not go back to it. I'm going to not be on social media after a certain time. I'm going to be focused and intentful. Oh yeah. And that was hard because I had done that for years. Y'all know you were the people I was giving it to. Don't act like you weren't there. You were there. So it's a lot of work. So if you're just dating someone, it's important that you know those things about them, because you need to consider whether or not that's something you feel like you can rise to. Right? Right. Physical touch people have great difficulties doing long distance. It's not because they don't love the person, but they need that physical touch. We're going to talk about that when that time comes up. We're on receiving gifts right now. Next question is, why is receiving gifts such a challenge to speak the language? Why is receiving gifts, love language, such a challenge? And let me tell you why it's a challenge for most people. Because they don't get it. Like Why do you need me to buy you something to feel that I love you? I told you that I loved you. I'm here. That says I love you. I rub your feet. That says I love you. I help you with the dishes. That says I love you. But that's not their language. You're not filling their love tank. And I know some people are like, oh my goodness. I know there's many people out there like aha moments, like, oh my goodness. Those things don't say love. Not that they don't equal love. They don't say love quite like giving of a gift. And so many people, it's a challenge because they don't get it. Why do you need a gift? Why do I have to buy something? Why do I have to think that hard about what to buy you? Why do I have to do those things? Well, that's why it could be a challenge to some people. If you were more open about hearing that, it wouldn't be as a big of challenge for you. The other thing is that there's some people that have been taken advantage of. There's some people who have been taken for their money. Their kindness has been taken for weakness. People have taken from them, borrowed things from them, literally money, time, energy, and they get with somebody and they're like, I ain't about to do this. Yeah, I know how we do that. Like, no, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to buy you anything. And we can get, we get firm on it. Like, no. I have a couple, and I don't know that he has bought her anything in the last 2 years since they've been married, because he was burned, and he lost a house, and he lost a car, and he lost the diamond rings that weren't his that he gave away, but still, in his mind, it was a loss. And so guess what? You're not getting anything. But we have to be clear. You come into a relationship with somebody with that mindset. That type of mindset is absolutely going to be a challenge for you to speak this particular language. So if you've been burned in the past, you have to let go. If you want to let go, you might need to come to the retreat. I can plug my own stuff, can't I? I just did. Then there's those people who are super savers. That was a nice way of saying thrifty, which was a nice way of saying cheap. There are people that don't, I know people who said, okay, I got $50 to spend for the week. I'm not spending anything over that. So if stopping at the store and getting you a 50-cent candy bar is not in the budget, you don't get the candy bar. Those people who are super savers, who are thrifty, a receiving gifts person is absolutely going to be a challenge for you. Again, we want the gift to be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate, but you have to buy it to even get those things done, right? You come home and say, I thought about getting you this. Yeah, they're not going to go, oh, that was thoughtful. You won't get kudos for that. Don't try that. And please don't say Angie said do that. Another person that might find it to be a challenge is if you don't listen well. This love language absolutely takes you listening, because it could be that they would say, oh, I really like those glasses. And you go, okay, you make a little mental note, like the glasses. Come back, birthday, come back, anniversary, come back, Valentine's Day, come back, any day. Because any day could be Christmas. You can come back at any time. And remember, but it takes you listening. If you're not a good listener and you don't pick up on some of those things, with all the love language, it takes you being a good listener. In my mind, listen is so freaking sexy. For somebody to remember what you said and to be thoughtful and intentional and considerate, right? But if you're not a good listener, you won't pick up on those things. And there's some people that will tune you out. The minute you go in the mall, they automatically go, like, I ain't listening to her at all. I don't care what he say. If you're that person, this is getting ready to be a challenge for you for sure. And then there's those people that can't spend money on people if they're not getting what they need. Oh, now it's about to get sticky up in here. I'm a physical touch person. I need you to touch me. I need us to have sex. I need us to make love. I need all of those things. You're not doing that. I'm not buying you crap. And that's the way it goes. Hey, I would bet all of my money and half of somebody else's that half the relationships that we know are in that struggle. You know why? Nobody wants to take the high road. So let me go ahead and give them something first, and then I can get what I need. Oh no. It's like, nope, I'm not getting anything. You not getting anything. Y'all tell me how that worked out. Tell me if that worked for you. Somebody has to take the high road. And with a gift giver, in my mind, it's easy. It's easier. It's easier. You have to believe that it's easier. But many people find gift giving a challenge because they simply do not want to spend money on, because we were raised to believe that that was the ultimate. I might be able to give you my heart. I can give you some of my time. I can give you some of my energy. But when I start to spend money on you, you need to be putting up, shutting up, putting out, showing out, all of those things. And that's the concept we have around money, no matter whether it's $2 or $200,000. We have to come from that. If you're with a receiving gifts person, it's so very important that you know and believe that you have to show up in that area. But it's going to be a challenge for you if you don't get it and you don't want to get it. If you've been taken advantage of previously and still haven't let go of some of those things. If you're a super saver or thrifty. If you don't listen well. And if you don't want to spend money on somebody who ain't spending time or anything else with you. All right? Okay. Everybody got that? Next question. Do all the gifts I give have to be expensive? And the answer is a big fat no. No, you do not have to break the bank. You have to listen. You have to listen, people. For most, if not all of receiving gifts, folks, the cost of the gift is irrelevant compared to the thought, intention, and consideration. It says something that you were thinking of me to be able to have this happen, right? Yes, be clear that that thought stays there, whether it's a $2 gift or $200,000 gift. So no, you don't have to have a whole lot of money. And this is what I'm going to suggest that you try. Try things that are very, very thoughtful, very, very thoughtful, that don't have to cost a lot of money. Go back and get a menu from the first restaurant that you went on a date with. Go back. I mean, you could pick up a rock off the beach that you first walked on. You could, all of those, that's thoughtful. That's intentional. That's considerate. There's so many things that you can do that do not cost money. Inbox me. I'll tell you. There's so many different things that you can do. So everybody thinks, and that's where we get into trouble when we think we have to go big. Like, I'm not buying her a pair of red bottoms. I'm not buying her a car. I'm not getting ready to do this. Everything doesn't have to be that big. So much of it can be so small. So small, and doesn't have to cost anything. You like somebody who likes to get gifts. There's things around your house, around the house that y'all live in, that you could re-gift. In that it's thought about, it's put away. Like, oh, then you get to travel down memory lane. Remember when we were on the beach, and remember when I was getting some? Yeah, everybody always go back to that. Just be clear that if you're thoughtful, intentional, and considerate in giving that, it absolutely will work in your favor to be able to have your love language met. Now, I'm not saying meet theirs so you can get yours. I'm just saying that it's not that hard, people. Come on now. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it. Do it. You know what I was listening to all day today? I ain't saying wait a minute, what's the song? She gets money. Y'all know I had to sing, right? When I'm in need. Okay. Y'all know I had to do that. Y'all would have thought I was a stranger if I didn't sing. I got you. Okay, then, so we know now that it's the little things that are huge in significance. Little things, huge in significance, right? What can I do to make and keep my receiving gifts spouse or partner happy? Right. I'm getting ready to give y'all the answers. There's no way you should fail the test because I'm about to give you all the answers. One is A. Well, not really. Hold on just a second. Here's a good way. Make every day a holiday. I know what you're thinking, Angie. I ain't getting ready to give her something every day. Again, it doesn't have to be big. It could be small. Think small. The number one thing, let me give you this number one answer. Have them make a list. And it could be a list that would literally say, what are some little things you can do that I can do for you to make you smile? And there's nothing wrong with asking the question, people. Don't think, well, she's not going to think I'm thoughtful if she has to tell me what to do. Now, there are some people like, if I have to tell you, but that means they want you to listen. So there are things that I know that your partner says, that the person you're dating says, that you can pick up on. Start to write those things. Where's your phone? Oh, I'm talking. I was going to say, where's my phone? I'm so silly. Take your phone, and I do this all the time, and you write down the things that they love, the things they've never had. I remember one time I wanted a Rock'em Sock'em robot. My uncles always had this Rock'em Sock'em robot, and I always wanted one. And guess what? Somebody heard me say that, and I got a Rock'em Sock'em robot. Probably off of eBay, could have came out the trash, it could have came from the Goodwill. I don't care. I didn't care where it came from. It was the thoughtfulness, the intentional, and it was considerate. It meant they listened. I care about you so much that I listened and heard what you said. Those things are pivotal, and they can make or break a relationship, not just with receiving gifts, but with any love language. You have to listen. Always be on the lookout for little things that you can do. Again, a napkin from the first plane ride. You know, if you travel on Southwest, they got that little stick with the heart on it, the napkin. It's a small gift, and you'd be surprised. People that are gift givers keep things like that. And guess what you get to do with stuff like that? I don't want people to think, well, if I get her a card, she's just going to throw it away. People that those things mean something to, they keep those things. Not like hoarding or anything like that, but those things generate something. Every time I pick up a gift that anyone has ever bought me, I think about that person. I think about when I got the gift. I think about how I got the gift. I think about everything that was going on at that time. I think about them now. Sometimes it causes me to reach out to those people. So be clear then, you're not just giving a gift and it goes away. That gift keeps on giving every time they go to that purse that you bought. Every time they go for that ink pen you bought. That was their favorite Carolina N pen. That you got. So it keeps on giving, but you have to be clear about how that works. And get thoughtful gifts. You can hear, let me tell you what happened. What had happened was, one time I was seeing somebody, and I noticed that they chewed Big Red gum a lot. Like every time I turned around, Big Red gum, Big Red gum. I got a little 10-pack of Big Red gum and sent it in the mail. Oh, I got bonus points. Like, ding, 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 ding. Give the woman a prize. Right. Little, it cost me maybe $3. Okay, plus postage. Little gifts, big impact. It meant I see you. I know what you do. I thought about what you did. And here, I'm going to contribute to the cause. That meant a whole lot. Now, Big Red gum means something all the time. My face might as well be on the Big Red gum. I'm just saying, people. It means a lot. It means a lot. Never return from being gone without a I thought of you gift. Like if you went on a trip someplace and you come back with nothing, oh, it's going to be problems. Problems and repercussions. Just be clear. And not just anything. Don't just pick up something at the airport. If they collect shot glasses, if they collect t-shirts, if they like room keys, I mean, just anything. Again, it doesn't have to cost a lot. It could be a little. But what it says to them is, I thought about you while I was away. I love you. I'm intentional about bringing this back. Here's what I brought you. Those things absolutely do matter. I know you're thinking, Angie, how can something like that matter? Try it. Watch. You're going to inbox me like, that worked. Be intentional with your giving when your partner is feeling low, insecure, or not connected. Those are great times to pull things together. Now, I know what you're thinking. She gonna think I'm trying to buy her. He gonna think I'm trying to make up by going to buy him something. What you're saying, you're not giving a gift, you're giving love. You're not buying someone, you're showing someone. You're being thoughtful, intentional, and considerate when you show someone, I care. But those are great menders. When your partner's in a bad space, right, not just to rub it on your back and I understand or any of those things. A gift with a receiving gifts person matters. It makes a huge difference. Make a difference, people. What else here? Insecure. And I don't mean insecure like I think you out doing something. I mean, somebody could not feel secure at their job. They could not feel secure in this world. I read a couple of posts this morning where people were just feeling unsteady with the state of the union that we're living in. Those types of things, those are places where you would show up and you show love. And with the receiving gifts person, you show love with a gift. I'm hoping I'm bringing that home with you. And then again, I want to reiterate to everybody, have them make a list. It could be a list of big things, little things, never had, always wanted. That's a good list. I hope you guys wrote that down. Please don't ask me to repeat it. Big things, little things, never had, always wanted. Right. Write that down. and have them fill it out. They don't have to fill it out but one good time, and you can go to it and use it as a reference. The other thing is, people, listen. Put your listening ears on and know that when they say, I always wanted that book by such and such. I remember a friend of mine was coming, I think she was coming across the border, not the Mexican border, my Trump people. But she was traveling someplace with her family, and they were doing it hush hush. And she ended up having to leave her bag, which included a book, a Brer Rabbit, something rabbit book, one of her stuffed animals. And for her birthday, I found that book. It was a rare book. It was a pretty penny, but I found that book. That said, I listen. I care. You matter. I was thoughtful. I was intentional, and I was considerate in giving that. It wasn't just, oh, here, I found another book. You know, here, you can take the love language book. No, that's not thoughtful or considerate. So don't do that. You'll get in trouble if you do that. All right, Angie, please help us. Tell us some of the things not to do with the receiving gifts person. Let me tell you what not to do. Don't get lazy with your gift giving. Don't give every day for 2 weeks after this show, and then come March, you like forget their name. Don't do that. That's going to get, it looks like I'm sweating, but I'm actually not. I'm just shiny. I think I look yellow. That was so random. That was my ADD in effect. Anyway, don't get lazy with your gift giving, and don't be an Indian giver. What do I mean by Indian giver? Yeah, I remember when you were small. Like, don't be where you kind of give somebody something, you take it back. Well, in this respect, I mean, don't be an Indian giver in that you give them something, but you talk about it. Like, oh, I really couldn't afford to do that, but I did it anyway. Or, you know, that took the last of my money to do that. Or I had to go all the way out of my way. That's almost like you giving me something and saying, I really didn't want to give it to you. Right? That, I'm going to call that Indian giving. And guess what, people? That doesn't work. I see somebody put a Joker smiley face that just went across the screen. Many people do that. If you have to give me something and then tell me how you couldn't afford it, you didn't want to do it, how far out of your way you had to go, any of that, that's not going to make me feel good about this. This doesn't feel good to me anymore. And it takes away the love. You messing up with that. Don't do that. You know what you can do, though? Go ahead and press share. Press share. Come on, people. Don't be stingy. Is it a button? Share the information. Let me see if I'm going to say this right. Consider it an investment. So what not to do, don't consider like you're blowing money. Don't do that. That's what you should not do. It's not a blowing of money. It's an investment, right? Your return on investment could absolutely be huge. A little something, a little ink pen could be very huge because, again, it's thoughtful, it's intentional, and it's considerate. That's if they like ink pens to say Carolina that have a green tip. And don't go just getting any big pen and taking it. That's not going to work. I'm hoping I'm driving it home with y'all. People that are methodical and routine, those people are going to have challenges because it's out of the routine. And they, 9 times out of 10 are going to mention that they had to go out of their way. I want to reiterate, don't give a gift and then take it back with your words. Don't give love and then splash it with a bunch of, I won't say hate, but negativity, because then it doesn't feel right. And be okay with the gift giver if you give something and they would prefer a different color. They would prefer it to be in a size extra large that I can actually fit versus the medium that you brought. Right, because you might get beat down for that. Because you know doggone well I'm not a right. Don't get beat up. You have to be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. If you want to know something, ask a question. And know there's many people that are receiving gifts love surprises. But guess what? I bet you there's not anybody that wouldn't rather you call and say, hey, I've been thinking about you and I know that you like juices. What kind of juice would you like me to bring you? Versus you saying, here, I brought you a juice and it's a red juice and I wanted a green juice. You don't get extra credit for that, people. I'm just telling you, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, Angie, another question. Why do receiving gifts folks get such a bad rap? Well, I told you earlier that many people believe that, they're gold diggers, or that they're high maintenance, or that they're materialistic. And because many people don't know about, well, no, a lot of people know about the love language, but they haven't really dived into the book. They haven't read the book. They only know from taking the test. People that understand what receiving gifts is. And so I'm going to say to all of my receiving gifts people, it's for you to help your partner to understand what that is. And that it's not just you saying, can you bring me something, please? Or always asking for something from the store. Because even that sometimes are people knowing that you're going to bring it. It means love. Like, oh, you thought enough. I love Nutty Buddies. To all my Dallas people that are coming for my birthday, I love smooth operated pie from the Pie Emporium. Right. I will feel loved if you bring it. You see what I just did? I gave specific instructions. It's not for you to have to guess what I'm needed. And people, don't make your partners and your spouses guess. And I know that it makes you feel good to know that they know you enough. But please know that there's some people who it needs to be said a little bit more than not. What you don't want to do is to be so hostile in your receiving that gift that they don't want to give you anything else. Right? There is a great way of receiving a gift to people. Right? All right, here you go. Another question. Help. I don't speak my partner's love language of receiving gifts very well. It seems I'm always in the doghouse. Can I learn to speak the language, or am I just wasting my time? People, you can always learn the language, but you have to want to. You have to have a desire. You have to not hear and speak the negative self-talk. Like, I don't know why I got to do it. Anytime you tell yourself, I don't know why I have to do it, you're doing it with an attitude. Y'all know the attitude y'all give. Anytime you got to go in and throw something, right, at somebody, like, here, yeah, you're doing it with an attitude. You can learn to speak it. But it is going to be work. If it's something that goes against what you believe, or against what you know, or against what you're doing, or if you're any of those things I talked about earlier, it's going to be a challenge. But you absolutely can learn to speak the language. But I would be very upfront with my partner and say, hey, I think, because maybe they don't know either, I think you're a receiving gifts person, and that's a love language I'm not used to speaking. It's not the primary way that I speak love to someone. So I'm going to need you to help me, but I'm also going to need you to be patient. So there might be some things you might need to tell me more than once. There might be some times I might not get it right, but I need you to be patient with that. People, it's always going to be better that you talk versus not talking. Does that make sense? Hold on, I have to bring up this thing because I have to make sure there's nobody. Okay, there's people on the phone, but nobody's raised their hand and wants to ask a question. So just be clear that it's going to be a little challenging to you, especially if it's opposite of what you do. I shared with you earlier that I am very good at gift giving. I am very good at acts of service. I suck at quality time. I don't do that well. I'm really good at words of affirmation. So that I knew, and that's awareness is growth. If you're aware of what your challenges are, share those with your partner. Don't let your partner just think that you just don't love them and that you're shiftless and lazy and a bum. I could keep going. You want me to keep going? Let them know that I really want to do this, but I need you to be patient with me. And if you can help me, that list is going to help. Because you get to randomly choose from that list. You get to randomly go, this is what I like. You know what? Today I'm going to get her some crayons and coloring. Grown people are coloring now. Like I sat on a plane next to a woman that spent the whole 4 hours coloring, and she was intentful with her coloring. I mean, those types of things. So just know and know that I don't care how long you've ever been with your partner, how long you've been with your partner. There's still things about them that you may not know. There's still things that they could like or just discover that they like that you didn't know. So always ask questions. Feel free and be okay with them always updating the list. If you guys share a calendar, they can put some of those things on the calendar. But you have to be open to receiving information and communicate. Communicate with them about what you can do, what's challenging for you, but that you want to do it, because that absolutely and positively does matter. Another question. What if I'm doing all the giving and my partner isn't reciprocating? My love language is physical touch. And buying me things. I should have probably read that before I copied it and pasted it. But anyway, what they're pretty much saying is that what happens if I'm giving these things and it's not being reciprocated? What we need to be clear about is that we all speak love in a different way. And just because somebody's giving you something doesn't mean, reciprocity doesn't mean that you give that same thing back. It means you give me back what I need. So when people say things like, oh, and this is so troublesome to me, I would never do that to you. Well, you would never do that to them because you're not them. You don't think the way they think. You don't have the same emotional experiences that they have. So you have to be clear that when someone gives you something, getting it back means I'm giving you love. I want love back. Even though many of us will say that your love is unconditional, most of us, 99.8% of us, want love back. We want love in return, and believe it or not, that's a condition. So be clear, when you give a gift to someone, the reciprocity for that is going to always be a thank you. I think that there's not anybody that does something for you that doesn't want to hear thank you and how much you appreciate it and how much you love it. I am that person that, oh my goodness, things, and I will thank you every time I look at it. Every time I put it on, I'm sending you a picture like, hey, look what I got on, or hey, guess what I put up today, or hey, guess what I did. Those things absolutely matter. So you have to do that. That's a piece of reciprocity. The other thing is that you best believe I want some of what makes me feel loved too. So whether that's receiving gifts back or physical touch or acts of service or words of affirmation, those things are needed in return. People don't like when they give things and don't get things back. But let's talk a little bit about the high road. And I'm going to drive this home all the time because there's no traffic on the high road. It pretty much is empty up there. But we playing bumper cars on the low road. You don't do for me, I'm not doing for you. You don't say anything to me, I'm not saying anything to you. You don't get me anything, I'm not going to get you anything. You don't show me you love me, I'm not going to show you I love you. And we call that a relationship. Then y'all get together and take a selfie and post it on Facebook. I can't stand her. He make me sick. Yeah. I'm gonna suggest to you that with this series, and I think that it's important that you tune into all of them. But with this series, that it's going to be important that there's many times that the communication has broke down, the relationship has broke down because people aren't feeling the love that they need to feel. Somebody has to take the high road. Somebody has to be willing to say, this is not where I don't want to play bumper cars down here in this low place. I absolutely want to go to a high place. So you absolutely then have to be clear about how that works. Now, if you're giving and giving and giving and you're not getting, and you're having conversations, and that you have to find, there's a reason that, especially people that you know you love and know that loves you, and they're not showing up, it's usually for good reason. It just hasn't been tapped into yet. Find a good therapist, go to a retreat, listen to a conversation, call a sister. I'm just saying, there's usually a reason why people don't show up intentionally. Usually it's because their needs aren't being met, or it could be something bigger or bolder or brighter than that. But you have to consider that reciprocity is going to be two people having their needs met, not you buy me something, I buy you something, unless we're both receiving gifts people. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense. So listen, we're going to be doing this, and guess what? I think I got it scheduled where I'm doing a show every week. So you guys are going to see me next week. Yay! But I want you to be intentional about listening to every show. Even if you go ahead and hit the share button. Because if you hit the share button now, people then will get most of the show. And I see people have kind of scaled back from listening. So go ahead and share. Okay, thank you. I would love for you to tune in to every conversation, if not every, to be sure to listen, because you never know when you encounter someone with this. And it's not just our partners that come with love languages. Our parents have love languages. Our children have love language. I think I shared with you guys the aha moment I had with my daughter, being a quality time person. Our friends have love languages. All of those things matter. You guys might remember that last year I asked everybody to write me a handwritten letter for my birthday. And I got over 50 handwritten letters. Those things I treasure. Oh my goodness. That was bigger than life. That was me asking for what I wanted, and me and people listening to what I said I wanted. We have to be clear that not just our partners, everybody we encounter has a love language. And everybody, whether they say it or not, likes that love language to be spoken to them. The other thing is, I can't leave you without telling you this. The way you speak love and the way you take in love very well could be two different things. I am a gift giver and an acts of service, but I take in love. I want to be loved with words of affirmation and acts of service. I think that after today, I feel like I might even be a receiving gifts person. And the other thing is that guess what? Sometimes we shift. In our 20s, physical touch could have been all it. Like, I need you all on me, all on me, all on me. And then you got in your 30s, you like, nah, just go buy me a card. Get off me. Just go buy me a card. And then you got in your 40s, and then you got all kind of, quality time. You want to sit and lay and chat and talk and those types of things. So I need you to know a couple of things. One, everybody we know has a love language. Two, the way we speak love and the way we hear love can be two different things. Two different things. And the other thing is that your love language can absolutely change. And I'm going to reiterate that each time we do a love language. But I want you to be clear that receiving gifts, if you don't take home anything from it, it has to be thoughtful, intentional, and considerate. Just don't go buy me a t-shirt with my partner went to the Bahamas and all I got was a lousy t-shirt unless I collect t-shirts, or I ask you to bring me back a t-shirt, those types of things. Do not get gifts that are not thoughtful, because, yeah, that's not going to work, right? And it is going to be work if that's not the language that you speak, but you are capable of doing so if you have an open mind and you're able to mentally move some of those buttons. If there's something that's keeping you from being able to do that, and I'm going to say to everybody, it's not money. I'm hoping that nobody is asking their partners to buy something for them that they know that their partner cannot afford to buy. Yeah, that's not cool. So don't ask me for a Michael Kors purse and I'm struggling with paying my student loan and I have to go take my niece to do whatever. I would want to believe that you care enough about your partner not that to be so grand, and that you also give them the option of the small things they can do, of the thoughtful things that they can do. You guys, guess what? We can't go wrong going back to those earlier days when we ate at the Cheesecake Factory and we sat there for 3 hours and being able to go back and just take a picture of the booth and having that picture blown up. Hear me when I tell you, I think that is amazingly romantic, and I think you would get great big ups for that. All right? So listen, I thank you very much for tuning in. I'm hoping that you all are able to apply the paint tonight, right? It's not just about getting the information. It's about applying the paint. If you don't apply the paint, the color of your world never changes. Just like you just wasted a whole hour if you're not going to use it. Use it. All right? If you have questions, if you have comments, I want you to hit me up in my inbox. Do me a favor, share. And also go on Facebook. Let people know what you got. And where you heard it and all those types of things. Not because of me, but because there's somebody that needs the information, and you are the only way that they can get it. Because y'all got friends that's not my friends. I don't know how that happened, but it did. Anyway, I thank you all for tuning in. I have had an amazing time. I was at 60% when I started, but I'm like at 100 now. I'm on hype. I appreciate you all. And don't forget that they're not a gold digger. They're not materialistic. They're just receiving gifts, and you have to speak the language. We good? We good. I'm out of here. I'm going to disengage from Facebook first.